CNN, a leading broadcaster, is doing a series of reports on Thailand, including the celebration of His Majesty the King's 84th birthday. With me today is Coren, a CNN anchor and correspondent who is covering this event. Well, welcome to the program, Anna.
Thank you, Anna. Great to be here.
Yeah, can you briefly tell us what you've been covering so far on this series, as well as the celebration for His Majesty the King?
Well, CNN is here for Eye on Thailand, so we have been doing daily broadcasts every morning into World Report. I think it's 7 till 8 a.m. local time. And we've been discussing the country, its politics, its culture, obviously focused much on the King's birthday, his 84th birthday, and then his message which he gave to the people. It was quite amazing to be standing there and to see the thousands and thousands of people that were lining the street so early in the morning. I think when we drove in it was like 6 a.m. and there were people just everywhere. And I don't think everyone was convinced that he would actually speak to the people. So when we actually heard him address his nation and his message of unity and stability, it was really quite amazing to witness this happening.
What have you been covering for the celebrations itself?
For the celebrations, we were just outside the Grand Palace, and we spoke to people who were there to participate in the festivities. One woman in particular I spoke to, she was in tears talking about her king, how loved and adored he is. He truly is revered. So that was one of the shows that we did. Today we spoke to a political analyst to discuss the situation in the country at the moment, the stability that has at least it seems that there is some sort of stability within Thai politics at the moment, but we also know that it's very tenuous and volatile. So we were discussing with him, I guess, the role that Thaksin Shinawatra, the former Prime Minister, plays from Dubai. So it was fascinating to be covering this event.
What's next on your agenda? Well, what will you be covering?
Well, tomorrow, bright and early, we are driving off to Ayutthaya. And we are going to be meeting the people who helped save the elephants, so the shelter that has been formed up there. So we are very much looking forward to that. I believe that a whole bunch of baby elephants were recently born, so we get to meet them, which I'm looking forward to.
So when will you be leaving Thailand?
The show finishes on Friday, and that's when I fly back to Hong Kong, which is where I'm based.
Anna, you've been here before last year for the Bangkok's anti-government red shirt protests. Now, returning here to Thailand this year, can you compare, is your impression of the country, has it changed?
Well, I know that your country has been through so much suffering in the last couple of months. CNN was covering the floods very closely, and I guess witnessing that on a daily basis, and seeing now how your country is picking up the pieces and how it's recovering. We went to the outskirts the other day, and the water is still there. I know it is receding, but it is still there, and there are people still living in the domestic airport terminal, as they are in plenty of other shelters around the city. So there are so many people who have been affected, so many people who are homeless. So to see that, and to see, I guess, Thais coming together, to listen to the Thai King and hear what he had to say about how everybody needs to help the flood victims, I thought that was an amazing message at this particular time. I think for him to come out and to address his people, I think gave everybody sort of a sense of strength and a feeling of hope. So as far as my impressions of the country, I think it is, it is unifying, and obviously things have stabilised, and there does seem to be peace here at the moment, which is obviously very important for Thailand.
What about your impression of the Thai monarchy?
My impression of the Thai monarchy is that it is a revered monarchy. It's a family that is just loved by its people. I was talking to some of the citizens standing outside the Grand Palace, and I said to them, what is it that you love about your king? And they said, he's not our king, he's our father. He is the father of our nation, he is the soul of our nation, and we would do anything for him. So that is quite remarkable. I don't think there are too many other monarchs in the world who would receive the same sort of adoration as what His Majesty King Bhumibol receives.
Have you been covering news at another country with constitutional monarchy, and can you compare the relationship between the monarch and the people there?
I haven't covered it in other countries. I mean, I am originally from Australia, and we are part of the Commonwealth. And Queen Elizabeth is the Queen as far as Australia is concerned. But we don't have the same relationship with the monarchy as what you do with your king. So it is certainly quite fascinating to get an insight as to how it all works here in Thailand.
If you were to describe the celebrations for His Majesty the King's birthday just in one word, Anna, what would you say?
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, it really was. It was beautiful. It was beautiful to be there, particularly in the afternoon as the sun was going down and everybody was just streaming into the park. You know, the park outside the Grand Palace. And there were just smiles on everybody's faces. I mean, I know it was a national holiday, so people could, you know, enjoy what was going on. But it was lovely to see that spirit, that sort of spirit that of unity, of a nation coming together to celebrate the birthday of somebody that you all love so much.
Okay, now moving on to this Eye on Thailand. Why has CNN decided to do a series on Thailand?
Well, CNN covers these specials, and they have done for several years. I have participated in a number of them. Before Thailand, I was involved in Eye on Mongolia, and before that, Eye on Macedonia and Eye on Indonesia. So there have been plenty of them. We go all around the world and pay attention to countries that wouldn't normally be in the news. Obviously, Thailand has been in the news with everything that has been going on here. But to places like Mongolia or to Macedonia, you know, you don't necessarily see them in the headlines. To pay attention to them, their history, their culture, their politics. It just gives our audience something new to learn about. For
Thailand, what is CNN trying to achieve from this series?
I think it's basically doing just that, giving viewers at home another insight into what takes place here. I mean, Thailand is obviously one of the most popular tourist destinations in the world. But you know, I think some of the issues that we're covering are not things that people hear about every single day. So it's offering special insight, and I think that in the current climate, it also gives people a good look at what is taking place, the recovery process that is underway, and where you are up to as far as the cleanup goes. Post-floods.
When were you giving the notice to cover this event in Thailand?
We had this, I think, locked in the diary several months ago. So this is something that's part of our sort of annual calendar. So the floods happened after we decided that we were coming here. So it was a bit touch and go as to whether or not we would actually come because of the situation, but obviously the flood waters have receded, so we have been able to access the city and the facilities and come and tell the story.
So how long did it take for you to prepare yourself before coming here as a correspondent, and what did you have to do, Anna?
Well, I always research these sorts of stories. I think it's really important because you're coming into a place that you know a little bit about and that you read about. But for something like Thailand, or a place like Thailand, which has such an amazing history and particularly a recent history, you know, just the political situation here. You've been through, 6 prime ministers in the past 6 years. Yes. You had the riots last year that paralysed the capital for 2 months, and obviously there's the dynamics with Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra and her brother, who is in Dubai, Dr. Thaksin. So it's that there's certainly a lot to learn, a lot to know about, and then of course the king, you know, celebrating his 84th birthday, and to find out why he is so revered by the people, the work that he has done, the fact that he travelled around this country as a young man, met with the Hills tribes, met with the farmers, implemented programs and foundations to make sure that these people had better lives. I mean, I think those sorts of things you need to you need to learn about so that you can come and tell the story and do it justice.
So for CNN, how significant is Thailand in terms of news selection?
Well, I think Thailand is very important to CNN. I mean, we always cover what is happening in this country, whether it be what's happening in politics, whether it be a natural disaster. Certainly something that affects millions of people is definitely newsworthy to CNN.
And personally for you, Anna, as a foreign correspondent, do you find it easy to work here in Thailand to gather the news? And what challenges did you find in working as foreign correspondent?
I love working in Thailand. I actually have family based here in Bangkok, so Thailand is particularly special for me. But I don't find any challenges or obstacles. I mean, obviously the language barrier, but we have a bureau here in Bangkok, and we have local Thai producers, so we have translators, and they certainly obviously help what we do on a day-to-day basis. But yeah, we've got a great team of people, and I find that the Thais that we encounter are very welcoming and very friendly, and will do whatever they possibly can do to help us do our jobs.
Well, finally, for you, what else would you like to say, or is there anything I've missed on the coverage of Thailand here for your experience?
No, you've done a very good job, Weena, in covering all the issues. No, it's just a real pleasure to be here, and I'm pleased that we are doing this coverage, because in the wake of everything that has happened here in Thailand, I think it's great to know that your country is on the road to recovery, and that people are coming together to help the victims.
Well, it's a pleasure as well to have you with us today, and hope your visit to Thailand will be more often.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Great to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you.